Very good afternoon to you from myself, Matt.
And from me, Dave. Hello, hello.
And in today's episode for you, or this, what should I say, this week's Mastermind, we're going to be looking at the top sellers on eBay from all across the globe. Now, we want to do actually a massive shout out to Web Retailer, and we'll put a link down in the video description afterwards because it's got the full list of the world's top eBay sellers. But what we thought we would do is look at the top 10 for not only the global, but also within the UK too, and take a look to see if there's anything which we can take away as merchants, as sellers who leverage the marketplace, eBay marketplace. And again, it might give you like food for thought to see what the real potential is of the eBay marketplace, not only locally within your country, but from across the globe too. And maybe just go and investigate and see what some of the big sellers are doing, or maybe what they're not doing. That could be chucking things on its head, what they're not doing. So that's what today's topic is going to be. Now, don't forget, we are recording this live, so we'll leave all screw-ups like that one in without editing them out. And of course, if you're watching the live version, on the right-hand side of your screen, which will be that side, is the live chat. Now, if you are using the iPad or mobile phone, there's a little icon bit in the bottom right corner. You click that and your chat pops up, and that's how you can get involved as well. Sorry, they do a really good job of hiding that option when you're using a tablet. So, Dave, there's some big sellers out there, as in big in numbers and transaction and feedback, isn't it? And by the way, that's probably what we should mention here. This isn't in gross revenue. This is in feedback score, which is the measurement being used. So I don't think it's going to be any big surprise to anybody here. There's going to be a large number of media sellers in there just because of the velocity, which is those items kind of sell at or have previously sold at. But Dave, you've done the research on this. What was your findings so far? And have you got some example? Anybody which stood out to you?
Well, I mean, I think it's worth taking a look at some of the big guys. And like Matt said, a very clear distinction we need to put out from the beginning is that we can't access profit, turnover, revenue, anything like that. So the metrics on which we have to base this off is feedbacks received. And to give you some sort of idea, there's some skepticism, or there's some estimations around what feedback percentages are. Some say that about 40% of all eBay transactions result in a feedback. Some say as high as 70%. I would argue it's these days probably much closer to the 40, if not slightly lower.
Dave, I would actually agree with you that because I cannot remember the last time I left feedback for a merchant on eBay. In fact, I'm going to go and look now because I think it was ages ago. Because
I think it's one of those where obviously out of all the platforms, eBay is the one where people are much more likely to leave feedback. But I do suspect we're seeing dwindling numbers on that. Especially over recent times. So that's a quick disclaimer. These largest sellers are based on feedback received. And to give you sort of my heads up, my sort of main conclusions from this is out of the top 10 globally, the top 6 are all media sellers. So that's books, CDs, DVDs, those sorts of products. And so the top 6 in the world sell media, and the top 8 out of the top 10 sell media. So that's pretty much setting the stall out for why media is just sort of dominating the top 10. Go on, Matt, what have you found?
Right, I decided I'm just going to derail today's mastermind, and I'll tell you why I'm going to derail today's mastermind. Is today is finally got in and sorted out a load of coding for projects, which you'll find out in the future. But I'll give you a very big hint. It's got something to do with feedback, reviews, and ratings. Now, I'm actually mortified. Now I'm now like seriously thinking I've got to. I can imagine the video later and saying that I'm probably like a typical eBay customer and looking at the feedback which I've left for somebody for the last couple of sales. The 2 of them were neutrals for like more than a year ago. And the last one, and I really left one feedback in, get this, a year. The 10th of November 2017 was the last time and that was when I purchased the product. So just about a year ago, I actually left a feedback for somebody on eBay because I don't genuinely.
Was it a positive one?
It was a positive one.
Okay.
Yeah, it said, yeah, he fits perfectly, and they look super cool. And I think that was the light bulbs. Yeah, that was the halo lights for the car. So they were bright white instead of a yellow white in the BMW. But yeah, just put that into perspective. Me, and I buy a lot. I think I buy quite a bit. Put it that way. I dread to imagine. Well, I can tell you how much I've ordered in the last year. I tell you, it's probably quite a bit. There are many pages of purchases, and we've only just gone back to the 23rd of July in my inbox. So, and that of course includes a ton. And I know what I've ordered in the last 12 months from eBay, and it's been an awful lot. So yeah, feedback. I think you're right, Dave. Very low percentage people actually leave feedback on eBay these days. It's not as low as what it is on Amazon, but it is one of those annoying. It's I can see it becoming more of an issue over time.
Yeah.
Hence, working on projects in the background to make some of these things automated at least, or to try and foster them. So yeah, very curious on that one, Dave. Like you said, get that right. It used to be up in the 70+% range.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case anymore. I really don't think it is.
Yeah, no, I would be very likely to agree with you on that. So like we said, media is killing it, and the #1 seller globally right now is Music Magpie. We may have seen, or you may have seen a few years ago, the TV adverts. These were the people who would, you could post them, your old CDs, DVDs, I'm not sure if they did books, and they would send you money. They would pay you. Granted, it would not be a lot of money, but they would pay you for your sending your CDs and DVDs to them. They would then, it would appear, to check them, refurb them if possible, but put a case and whatever else with them, and sell them online, no doubt for a profit compared to the pence that they would have offered you for. And I'm actually on the Music Magpie, and this is the Music Magpie is based in the UK. I do think as a business they're registered in Guernsey. I think it's one of those ones, and their feedback is incredible. So in the past month, they've had 127,000 positive feedbacks left. And like we said, if we're assuming that there's going to be around 30 to 40% transactions without feedback being left, you can safely say that they're probably doing what, 250,000 sales a month? Probably
more.
Yeah, I reckon probably more.
Yeah, easily. Again, I've just looked. They've got 1.14 million listings up, or items within listings variants in total, because that's not how many listings they've got. That does also count variations within a single listing as well. So they've got a lot of variations up there. Pricing is obviously competitive. And yeah, I'm looking at this now. In the last month, they've done 127,000 feedbacks being received. Obviously, we can say that's 128,000 if we include the neutrals and negatives as well. And if only a very small percentage, we'll do a conservative estimate, 40% of people have left feedback. That is an obscene number of transactions. So yeah, Dave, I think your estimate 250 grand is probably
on the conservative side.
Whoa, yeah. We're talking maybe 4 times that.
Yeah.
Potentially, because the mobile phone isn't cheap, and obviously we've got accessories in there. But even if each item was only valued £1, we're talking stupid money. But we're not, because the first item which I picked up was an iPhone 7 for 200 and some quid. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the feedback that's been left currently, and I mean, 9.9 million feedback received is what that's showing here, and I'm just looking through the products: £2.96, £1.88, £2.54, £2.29, £1.35, £1.98. They are very much the sort of stack it high, sell it cheap business model, and you do question how can they make money on products where, including free shipping. Obviously they do fast and free, and they're a top rated seller. Their average positive feedback is 99.5. How are they doing this? And that's because they're sourcing these products for pence, literally pence. So people are sending them, casefuls of CDs and DVDs, and probably working out an average price of probably 30 pence per disc. And if they can sell it for £1.35, £2.96, they're on to a winner.
And that's the way it's been, and people readily send them in shed loads because it's free postage to send items in. And yeah, I'm looking at the Elf DVD on here being £2.50. So let's face it, they only probably about it 30p. The postage to get it there, and then obviously the postage to get it out to you as a consumer, and any fees which are involved in that. So it is with the media stuff, it is a very high volume, low profit turnover kind of model. It's almost the way it has been. Even not just the pre-owned stuff. We're talking about
I'd love to know I'd love to see their processes internally, like how quickly they get things listed, how, I just love to, because in my eyes, in order for something like this to work at this scale, there has to be a very good automation process in place, while still maintaining 99.5% positive feedback. I'd say they're doing a pretty damn good job. Out of 127,000 positives, they had 446 negatives. They're playing the numbers game really well. So yeah, Music Magpie.
Dave, can I just add another little point to that? Because by the way, we put a link to the chat in there, or you can just look at Music Magpie on eBay in the old Googler. And if you look at their feedback and you think a disproportionate number of people did not leave feedback for those transactions. As such, negative or neutrals. And I'll tell you what, let's go and click on some negatives and see what we get on there. Because the point was crashed, scratched, phone. Oh, didn't receive item. So that was 1 in 4 messages mentioned about item not being received. Item wasn't described, cancelled for their reason, still not received item. So the negatives in there, didn't receive the item, so delivered fast but missing one season. So there's one very curiosity on there. It kind of points out how genuinely good raw mail is.
Yeah.
For that number of transactions, and you've got to think of the other 60% minimum on top of transactions which are not in there, and the number of people who have left negative comments on there. We'll say 1 in 4, so 1/4 of that, so 110 items didn't get received, or provoked people to leave negative feedback. So actually, raw mail, not that bad. So I just draw my own conclusions from the numbers there, looking out wider.
No, it's a fair point, very fair point. Nick, late to the game, but why don't they have any listings up? They do. They have 1.1 million results up. I've just put a link to their store in there, but I'm not. If you've just joined, you might not have seen the earlier chat.
It should be there. It should be there.
If you scroll up,
just Google Music Magpie, and by the way, any other sellers which we mentioned as well, just stick them into the Googler and type eBay at the end, and they'll pop up there.
Yeah.
Just be aware, if you might have to add .com or .co.uk to the end of the URL, because they might be sending items. There you go, Nick. That'll be why, because you're in the US. There you go. So put the Music Magpie eBay.co.uk in there and see if you can find them that way.
Yeah.
So a big and they've done a lot of TV advertising here in the UK as well.
Again, they are a big brand. People know the name. They trust the name. Again, and what is interesting is that actually when it comes to the UK results, which we'll come on to in a little bit, there is only 3 brand names in there that most people would be familiar with, which means there's 7 more independent. I mean, granted, there's a few names in there which I'm familiar with, but that they're not really household names. But yeah, and I think that goes to show that there is scope, especially there's some very niche sellers as well, which are some of the biggest accounts. But we'll come on to that in a minute. I still want to stick on this media part for the time being, because what I found curious, and I've always said, eBay Australia is almost like a law unto itself. they do things differently. They're still allowed to have like graffiti on their images, and they do things in quite a weird way down in Australia. It's very much the odd one out when it comes to eBay sites. And with that in mind, when I was looking into this, and again, massive hat tip to Web Retail and the guys there for all this information. The UK biggest seller was Music Magpie. The top USA seller was a company called Thrift Books. Again, media seller, book seller. The top German seller was Medimops. Again, it's a media seller, books, DVDs, games, music. But the top Australian seller was a seller called Oz Plaza Living. And they actually sold things like home and garden. And not even to the state of, lights and other things, but these guys were selling like full-on furniture sets and, like sort of $300, $400, products. And again, they're a feedback score of 1 million, which again was, I think, by far the biggest when it comes to Australia. But yeah, these guys were selling it was unusual because they were so different. These were not like the sort of stack 'em high, sell 'em cheap products. These guys were selling a much more, I don't know how to describe it. Is it basically just almost, they remind me almost like of an Argos. They sell a lot of home and garden, a little bit of electronics, but largely it's home stuff.
I'm just looking here. So these are 1/10 of the size of Music Magpie, which we just saw a few moments ago. But to be honest, there's no big surprise, because Australia as an economy is smaller, but their price points are right. Whereas we were looking at very inexpensive products, if you move all the vast majority of very inexpensive products, except for the phones. We are dealing with remote control cars for the kids to sit on and drive around in, and luggage.
It is. It's a real mix.
Fake grass as well.
And if anyone goes to the site and you can't see anything, you might need to change your locale to Australia in the top right-hand corner. If it's showing UK, they obviously don't ship a lot of their stuff to the UK.
Well, none of that stuff, because I had the same issue as well.
Yeah, exactly. But if you change it to Australia, you see 9,500 results. Barbecues, bubble blankets, outdoor folding arm awning, like you say, remote control car for the kids, solar panels, a pool cover roller, a chainsaw. And these prices are ranging anywhere from sort of 30 Australian up to some synthetic artificial grass for 1,300.
I'm looking at that grass right now. You've got to take a look at this, because this is like, Dave, if you want to this isn't the top one. There's a few things which are missing, but take a look at that list. And I've just put it in the chat. It's for those of you who watch them in the recorded version, look it up on the Oz Plaza, and it's Prime Turf 5 to 100 SQM synthetic grass. And then scroll down and take a read of that description. Artwork, good lord, like fantastic quality artwork going on in there. And I don't know if he sold and stuff, but I can tell you, looking at it, it was probably one of the best ones which I've seen in a very long time as far as product descriptions go. And would you, then again, that's the thing which you've got to think to yourself, would you be in any doubt what you're going to be receiving if you purchased a couple of square meters of that? I don't think you would have any real doubts. And 2 sold on the last hour with over 1,000 sold on there, and quite a few sold just in the month of October. I'm having to scroll. I've had to scroll almost 4/5 of the page to go back in the number of sales. So no big surprise. Really well done.
Yeah, and
terrible item specifics, but
I've not even checked them. But yeah, I mean, you can. Oh yeah, wow. Warranty years 1. MPN does not apply. Classic. UPC and EN both the same. But yeah, I mean, there's a good use of variations. Great use of variations. You can see what that is probably welded to the top of, artificial turf search at eBay Australia. So yeah, that was when I was doing some digging before. This was the one that stood out to me. It's like Australia really is a little law. Yeah, it's just a law unto itself, really, with what with what they do and what works over there. And like you can say, you wouldn't get away with these images, like their main image, extra 20% off at checkout, check subtitle. And they actually put a discount code in the subtitle. You know, that sort of stuff you don't see in the UK and the US. But Australia, it's fair game. In fact, I think eBay Australia even encouraged sellers to do it. So yeah, it's a fun one. And like I said, eBay Australia is the one that sticks out on that one.
Yeah, and I just saw Jay's comment in there. That's one heck of a listing. Yeah, Jay, you got to give him a hat tip.
You were going deep on that, yeah.
There you go. Work. Yeah. And then there was images missing at the top and stuff, but that's like all forgiven when you get down and actually read their description, because it's hedging on the side of epic.
Yeah, no, like I said, I looked at it before. Like you said, it's not perfect. The item specifics are a little bit, well, very much lacking. But the images, they've got a great set of images. Title's good, and the description. I said, other than being a bit long, but I mean, Christ, they've utilized those images fantastically well. Everything's laid out nicely. Powered by Channel Advisor as well. So again, the big guys out in Australia are using Channel Advisor. Obviously, they can afford the cost that Channel Advisor is demanding. But yeah, so that was a strange one for me. They really are a bit of a law unto themselves, Oz Plaza living. So with that said, we sort of, like I said, we don't want to get too stuck on media, which is sort of difficult because, as we said, 8 out of the top 10 global are media. We don't need to go look at any more media sellers. So going to the UK, Matt, I think KFast1 is a very curious one worth looking at, because this just screamed to me, wow, this is niche of niche.
Wow. Okay. So fasteners, right? So a couple of years back, sorry, prepare yourselves for a tangent conversation. I seriously rate the selling of fasteners as a product line, because I did seriously consider it ages ago, and because like the first time I'm just gone in and said some Nylock locking nuts, which you've got to see a tiny little pack of M3s. And 10 for 99p. Okay, so 10, they're absolutely tiny little things. The margin on these products are just insane. Even if you walk down the road to Screwfix and buy them in Screwfix and then sold them on eBay, you would still be making a stupid amount of profit as a percentage for each item, to the point that the most expensive item in this transaction isn't the eBay fees, it isn't the items cost, it's actually sending the item to the customer, which will be the Royal Mail postage. And so, Dave, there's no big surprise they're in here. KFast, I know that I've bought from them before. It was one of the sellers which I personally researched a couple of years back, because I did actually look at fasteners on eBay, because they are just, what can go wrong?
That's it.
What can go wrong with the nuts?
Yeah, they fit in a nice envelope, easy to post, easy to store.
They don't rot. They don't answer back. They come in a couple of different sizes. They get lost in the post. You say, "Okay, I'm going to send you some more." like the most expensive thing. The majority of these transactions is not the product cost. It's not the packaging cost. It isn't the listed the marketplace fees. It's the postage. Yeah. The postage is the most expensive item. It's surreal. Anyway.
And do you want to know the interesting thing about K's fasteners is, out of all of the top 10s that I researched, these guys were the only ones with 100% positive feedback rating.
No.
Well, I mean, technically they're not, but I mean the percentage must be that skewed, because they've done in the past month 19,500 positive, and they've got 5 negative and 5 neutral. So that 5 is not enough to even knock off 0.1% to alter eBay's, to give it 99.9. So yeah, it's incredible. And again, you look at the prices though: 179, 145, 169, 649. 825, 355, 1089, 1179. These are actually doing much more on a transactional sort of level than Music Magpie were. And they're selling bits because obviously they'll be selling packs of screws and bolts and washers and things. But yeah, it's case fastenings. I was blown away. And like I said, these guys are the 5th largest eBay account by feedback left in the UK. And they're the first that isn't media. They're the biggest non-media seller.
Yeah, sorry to talk over there. They've got to be doing at least 40,000 transactions for nuts. Nuts!
Maybe you need to go and rag some off them.
Yeah. It's surreal, isn't it? And again, like, what's going to go wrong with a wood screw? Come on. The biggest threat to that business is the idiot customer choosing the wrong size. And it's almost to the point where you just don't care as a business owner that they've chosen the wrong size nut. You're just going to chuck them in another set in the post. That's the kind of customer service which you would be presented with. I'm looking at their nylon nut inserts. They have sold 78 and 79, call it a cool 80,000 products from that single listing. And I'm scrolled to the bottom of the page, which is the last 100 transactions. And we've only gone back to the 14th of October, which was 2 days ago. That's just nuts. Can you understand why it kind of perked my personal attention a while ago? And by the way, go and do your research, because there's bits and bobs and there's different types of, and again, that's marine grade, so hey ho. But then there are challenges with the actual packaging of the products. Again, if you need to do multiple different sizes, you need some really good business processes in place. So I'm in awe of Kay.
Yeah, again, I'm just looking at a listing now. Utilize titles very well. Images are good. Could be better. Could use some scale items on there, whether it be a penny or something. But again, item descriptions are letting them down. I'm on a bolt here. There's only 5. So, you know, but again, the actual description itself, very nicely laid out. Bullet points used well. A couple of images, related products in there. Some nice tabs. And based over in Wakefield. So, yeah, no, I'm... Case fastenings. Who'd have thought? Again, like I said, niche of niche, selling bits of bolts, washers, screws. You are the biggest non-media UK seller.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Low value, low risk, low stress.
Absolutely.
Can you understand why they perked my attention? And by the way, I know Dave was saying there about the descriptions not being that great, but they do such a really good job. And I think it's probably one of the best examples of how to use variations very, very well with sometimes a little bit slightly complex products. The only thing which I would actually personally say, something which I picked up on a while back, was the actual specifications of what M3, 4 and stuff like that means. Because that's metric 4 millimeters, metric 3 millimeters, and that might help garner a few extra sales from those products. And again, very lacking use of item specifics. But hey, look, they're selling 40,000 products minimum orders per month. So in selling nuts and washers and bolts.
Yeah, incredible. So yeah, that was case fastening. So I don't know whether it's worth us looking at Argos and Superdry. They are 6th and 7th in the UK, respectively. It's one of those with those guys. Argos and Superdry both have a huge brand presence in the UK. Argos is in most high streets. Superdry is in most shopping centres, and I think a lot of people know that if they go to Superdry on eBay, they're actually getting Superdry products, but at outlet sort of prices, because it tends to be end of season or stuff they haven't sold through the shops. So you can actually pick up if you like Superdry as a brand, which I know Mr. O does, you can actually get some great deals on the outlet on eBay. So
if they've got the stuff in the right sizes, this one, it's just a frustration with Superdry in general. Is that their items actually hit the retail stores, which are not cheap. but you do get a full range of sizes because they're medium are meant for skinny little Caucasian people, which their sizing's completely off. So I'm a 2XL, which is their largest size, I think, on there.
What the hell would I be?
Eh?
What the hell would I be? Besides not shopping at Superdry.
I don't think you would be their target audience because you're about this tool.
Yeah.
But that side is extremely expensive. But unfortunately, that's one of the, we're going off on a slight tangent again, I know, but that's one of the things about which I've personally found with clothing is that the step up to get decent quality is quite a fair chunk. And Superdry quality of a product is actually very, very good. I don't buy clothes very often. Like, I'm not a big shopper at all, like compared to my wife, compared to the wife. But I must admit, I do enjoy going in the Superdry store. And I think I was 420 quid lighter only last Saturday with a pair of coats and something else. And yeah, not a lot. We walked out with a bag for that. But the quality is right out there. And getting to my point about sizes and stuff, it is their outlet store. So the chances of you getting a 2XL hoodie on their site is pretty damn remote. Also, you don't get their latest ranges either, hence, because these polo shirts, you'll find them on eBay now for the Superdry store, but you won't actually find them in their stores anymore. So for them, it's just fantastic. It just makes, I think that's probably why it's done so well. They're able to keep a very high price point for their new products, which they've just brought out. Again, I brought a coat and turned out it was 120 quid. I didn't even look at the price tag. I just liked it, so we bought it. And because, like I said, I don't buy clothes that often, so when I do, price is almost irrelevant because I'll know I'll keep it for a very long period of time. Anyway, get into the coat is that you won't see that, and it's not on their eBay store. But I guarantee that come January, February, March, when it's like end of season, if they've got any left, that's where they end up. And of course, that's great for them as a business because they're able to usher in new products and keep their stores, keep the flow going. Because while there were staples of a certain collection of polo shirts, etc., and hoodies and stuff up on the sides, they were different compared to a month before when I went into that same store. So they are doing a decent turnover of lines within the actual stores. And I think eBay for them is just an absolute no-brainer because then they're able to keep that velocity going and still keep what was actually, to in all fairness, a decent price point on eBay as well. It's cheaper, but you've got to be damn quick to get the sizes.
Yeah, I mean, I just did like I said, just a quick test myself on what you were saying. If you go into men's jackets, you have 1,768 results. You tick XXL, you get 15. So there you go. That's exactly the point Matt has been making there. If you fit into Superdry clothes, you might get lucky, but if you're more of a normal size, like me and Matt, then yeah, maybe not for you. So, but I mean, it's a great angle, and it's something which the likes of Tesco did very well with the Tesco outlet. And yeah, it's a great way to move slow moving products. So can't really fault Superdry. And like I said, they've got the brand name, so it isn't that surprising to see them up there.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, by the way, remember the biggest thing for you to take away is to go and look at the sellers which we're mentioning to see what they're doing, what you feel that they're doing good, or perhaps could be improved. Because it was only last week in the mastermind we were looking at sellers, and we're just finding, like we said at the point in time, that people are always leaving cash on the table when it comes to eBay. Even that really nice listing from that Australian company, which we saw a few moments, quality listing, like A grade, 10 out of 10, not the socks off an Amazon product description. But Item Pacific's was crap, and they only had one main image. Where were all the other images? You know, so even these top guys that are still leaving money on the table, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as you're concerned as well. So do go and have a look to not only see what they're doing really well, because there's always something to be learned from looking at people who are doing either greater revenues or just basically bigger than you, but also look at things which they're not doing as well. and keep that in the back of your mind. We've said this for a long time. There's no such thing as a perfect eBay listing. We have yet to come across one. So yeah, good luck in finding one.
I know,
but
if we can't find one in the largest eBay sellers in the world, then yeah, there's not much hope for any of us, really.
Indeed. Or should I say there's a lot of hope for you?
Yeah, well, absolutely. There's a lot of money on the table.
Right, so Superdry, definitely go and have a look at those on because they just do so well. And think about the dynamics, like you mentioned, which are going on in the retail world and the high street, and what eBay allows them to do. So yeah, very, very curious. No big surprise they're doing as well as they are.
So that leaves us with the next one that I really want to talk about is LM Electrical, as the next two are media sellers, and we've also got Argos, but we don't need to look at them. LM Electrical, this is again one of those little niche product ranges which seems to do very, very well. Now, LM Electrical, again, I'm sure Matt will stick a link somewhere in the chat. And LM Electrical, they sell, well, they label themselves as the online spare shop.
It's funny, just like, I swear blind I've ordered from them.
You probably have.
Yes, I have. And I can tell you, it was a very long time ago. It was 2014. I recognised that. What was it? Oh yeah, it was. That was why in our old house the girls were using the washing machine door as a swing and hanging on it, and she snaps it off, and that's what it was. It was a hinge, and it was from LM Electrical. There you go. I knew I recognised that name, and I bought from them before that as well.
And again, to give you an idea, I've had 1.6, nearly 1.7 million feedback received. They have, in the past month, done 14,600 positive, 51 negative, 99.7% average positive feedback. And yeah, I mean, again, looking at the price point, we've got Karcher glass cleaning concentrate, 11.45, vacuum cleaner, Hoover.
Have a look at this listing. I'm going to put it in the chat. Okay, so have a look in the chat on the right hand side. Those of you which are watching this at a later date, look up item number 311677665133, and then click on the number of items sold. If you scroll down, they've sold over 100. Okay, in the last 9 days. Okay, on eBay, and all it is a stupid caddy. It's a plastic caddy you stick in the dishwasher.
Yeah. £8, and they're selling those all day long.
All day long. There you go. There's a neat. I didn't even know that kind of would exist.
Yeah, who knew that you needed to replace those so often? But literally, spark plug for a chainsaw, £2. Vacuum cleaver, suction pipe for a Dyson, 13 quid. Lead plug, mains battery for a Dyson. So again, it's oh, what's this? A halogen clear capsule bulb, 25 watt. You know, they are selling. It's quite again a niche sort of product. They're selling bits of spares for electrical goods, but I mean they've clearly got the brand names. Got Beko, Vax, Bosch, Flymo, Dyson, Hotpoint, Karcher, Henry the Hoover, Kenwood. And I'm trying to see.
They've got a lovely array of price points, haven't they, Dave?
Yeah, they really do have a wide variety. And what's interesting, I'm not sure they're not using good till cancelled either. They like if I'm on their homepage now, ending soonest. They've got stuff ending pretty much every minute or so. Which again, is this a tactic they're using to show up in more search results? Who really knows? It's quite an interesting. I don't even know where to click on it. Really. There's so much weird stuff which I've never needed.
It's just random stuff, which is really important and probably really needed if you needed a Creator washing machine door handle hinge. It's just absolutely. One of those random. And I'm looking at their top item, which is a Ovation 2-in-1 lightweight vacuum cleaner. Terrible product description. But then really good images at the top. Piggybacking a large number of reviews are available on the product and have filled in the bare minimum possible, really.
Like puncture-proof solid sack truck wheels. things, again, this is stuff that we'd normally get recommended on product research webinars. These are the weird and wacky products which people are making a fortune selling. 25 quid, 560 of them sold. Good title. Images are decent, could be better. Again, 5 item specifics. And the description is plain text, as plain text as it comes. They've just used a bold for the title and bullet points underneath.
A line in the text, which is like the worst readability going.
What's that, central lining? Yeah.
Yeah.
Based here in Denton in Manchester, apparently. But yeah, I mean, these guys are absolutely killing it. LM Electrical. Who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought it? But like we said again, they're not perfect by any means. There's money being left on the table. But if you're watching this right now and wondering how big your business could grow if you're selling, again, James springs to mind because he's, I know that he sells hobby stuff. Yeah, he just pops up. Does that show the descriptions aren't really that important? It depends. You could argue because the Australian guys went to town on their descriptions, and we're clearly killing it there. I guess
I would say with some of those products which we've just seen, some of them are quite technical. If you get past the top and you start going down when you're into replacement products, the customer was already searching for that product.
Yeah,
they already knew what they wanted. The description was just luxury afterwards, if that makes sense, James. So they're looking for a Dyson DC04 hose pipe. That's what they're looking for. They then already know you don't go onto eBay and go, oh, I'm gonna have
fancy.
It's just fancy. Yeah, I could use that.
It's
or
not an emotional purchase,
tatty, isn't it? Yeah. It means it's got a bloody hole in it, and they've knackered it, and they want a replacement. So I think that's a really, really good question, James. And I'm going to come to the defense of the description section of an eBay item, which is that if you're looking for a DC04 vacuum cleaner hose pipe, you already know that you're coming to look for a vacuum cleaner hose pipe. It's not a considered purchase, it's a required purchase. I think that sums up that lot. That type of product, which that seller's selling very, very well. Inversely, James, is that if you're selling a crafty item which has some form of emotion being applied to it, then yeah, I would be hell bent on descriptions just for that fact, because those items are being bought on a whim rather than a requirement. Can you see what I'm saying there? That's a required purchase.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's two very distinct things. It's like, what would you rather spend 400 quid on a new Dyson or 13 quid on the hose? So like you said, it's like, all right, 13 quid can get the hose. It'll come next day. Happy days. Don't have to spend 400 quid on a new Hoover. Whereas, yeah, for a lot of what most people will sell, it is largely going to be emotional purchases. That's why we have to turn into salespeople a little bit, and that we talk about features and benefits so much. When it comes to replacement parts, which is what those guys are absolutely smashing, it's necessity, not emotion.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I can see James is commenting there. Yes, absolutely, Matt. Some products need harder selling, some don't. I think you just need to trip the emotional side. You can't get an emotional about a pair of window wiper blades like Mike put in the chat for $1,000. But you would have to remember, like 2 weeks ago, we were chatting about the books and the Purple Cow, which I listened to actually as an audiobook, and it was just absolutely brilliant. What's the word he used? Otaku. That's a very thingy word. And otaku, and yeah, how do you make a wiper blade? How do you make
a wiper blade sexy?
You can't. You could put some chrome on it, but then it's like a customer going to pay a premium for a bit of chrome bling. Oh, geez, you're very specialized. Whereas a set of cutting out pieces to make some Christmas cards, it has you can go overboard with that. It's just. Yeah. Anyway, we digress. Dave, what else have we got on this list?
I think that, I think we've pretty much exhausted most of the interesting stuff, really.
Well,
like I said.
What about the percentages? Because you put that in the numbers there. You found this out. So I'll let you carry on with this because I was quite surprised by this.
Yeah, well, I thought it would be interesting to see how good the big guys actually are when it comes to their average or their positive feedback percentages. Now, when I did the numbers, the global average out of the top 10 for positive feedback was 98.8%. And in the UK, for the top 10 UK sellers on eBay, the average was 99.2%. So they are consistently sort of up there. And like I said, but the only one with the straight 100 was Kay's Fittings. And yeah, the rest were sort of lingering around the 98s, 99s. One was down in 97.4. In fact, that's an interesting one we can talk about. Germany. The third biggest German account is actually car parts. ATP Auto Taily. Might need to translate that page.
So I was just trying to find them in our list there. Give me a second. I'll send you a link.
In the global one, seventh largest in the world, third largest in Germany. But again, 89 for all intents and purposes, 90,000 results. Again, much higher price point because we're dealing with car parts. But again, just looking at this, 180 days return policy. That's a 6-month return policy. And they've obviously got all the fitments and all that. They've got a nice little search box there in the top left. But just scrolling down, they've got engine oil, they've got brake pads with accessories, torque keys, a door lock for the front left of a Volkswagen Golf. And they really are selling a lot of different products. But again, the price points are ranging from sort of €22 up to 165 for a rear axle.
So this is actually very interesting. I haven't seen one of their listings yet, but just looking at it from a high level, you've got functional products, so a torque wrench in there, which looks like their top selling item, to consumable products, so manual engine oil, to parts. Now, this is, like I said, I've not actually clicked in to look at one of their listings yet, but I'm suspecting they're going to be like about an average listing. And the reason why I'm going to say about an average listing is because they've got parts which you kind of know if you want an alternator for a VW Bora, because you need it.
Yeah.
And the same for the oil. Your car is broke, you need it. Now, there is some argument that a torque wrench, if you've already got one, you might be in the market for another one. It's like asking an RC modeler if they want another model airplane. There is a house rule called model plus one, and that's what it is. You always want another one. So tools in general, you can never really have enough tools. Ask any mechanic that to any degree, and they'll get you out their shiny set of Snap-ons or other brand out and show you, and they're very impressed with them, and they'll also show you a load of knackered tools which they've been through as well. So I tell you what, I'm going to pick up some rim cleaner, which is for me the second item in that list, and scroll down. And like I said, I'm expecting like a run-of-the-mill listing template and things like that, and it's exactly what we've got. I've just kicked into that. You've got some branding at the top. Probably about the best item specifics which we've got today. I'll put a link in the chat for you. 9
item specifics.
It's got some item specifics. It's got a template in there. They've only included one image in there, but there's some nice bullet points in there. Yeah, rim cleaner gem, James. That's what it says in the title. They're not making it sharp. And then scrolling down, and a very long description, which I don't think I pay much attention to. But yeah, like I said, I didn't even need to look at one of the listings to guess that we were going to be dealing with an average kind of template or description error compared to like what the case which we saw a few minutes ago and the LM Electrical. which was that you break the door off your washing machine, you need another bracket. Is a bracket. What else is there to talk about? Rim cleaning.
Well, when your rim needs cleaning, mate, you got to go to eBay, haven't you? You know, it's what it is.
eBay Germany, of all places.
eBay Germany. If you need rim cleaner, then eBay Germany is the place to go. They're very good with the cross-border stuff. Have you seen that in the description?
That's people trafficking, isn't it? What?
Oh dear. No, I mean they talk about the prices of selling it to different countries, and then they've got all the little flags, and it's quite due to custom duties. A variation of the price may follow. Allow custom clearance may cause a delivery delay. It's quite a well thought. I mean, it's long, but I mean it's quite a well thought out listing.
It's not bad, actually, especially when you come down to these flags. They've obviously run into issues with this, with the question things like this before. I would have perhaps put the more popular, more likely countries to come at the top rather than putting Croatian in there. I would have put that down at the bottom because if you're in Croatia, you don't expect yourself to be at the top. Let's be brutally honest there. You're expecting to scroll down and you're in the third row, so maybe they're using that to deflate their boat. But yeah, curious that they've done that. So there's obviously, I reckon there's been a lot of pain in that company's growth about selling internationally, and the shipping prices and things like that, which have gone with it. So that might explain it. So there we go. So, sorry, Dave, your point about the top German one.
Yeah, the top German one was again media, but this was the third largest German one, and they were, like I said, it seems like to be an independent, selling everything to do with automotive, car parts, car accessories, car tools, and again, it was just a nice other variation. You know, media is by far running away with it, but we've also seen fastenings, electrical parts, and car parts, as well as fashion as well with Argos and so with Superdry and Home with Argos and the Australian company as well. There is some variation in there, and it is interesting to see how these smaller, very niche in some instances, sellers are actually killing it on eBay.
Who knew you could sell over 100 dishwasher in plastic insert things in a couple of days? They that bad? That was just a whole new league.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Right.
Again, if anything, the one thing that I would take away from that is you hope eBay people are making it work for themselves on eBay. And out of the top 10 in the UK, only 3 of them were brands that you would have actually heard of. Music Magpie, Argos, and Superdry. That means 70% of them are independent third-party sellers. Maybe just like you, started out in a bedroom in a back office and have scaled up. The one thing I would say is, out of the ones that we've seen, there's a lot of listings. That seems to be the current theme. There's a lot of inventory there, and is that the key? Who knows?
And have a quick nose to see what they're doing and think to yourself, what are they doing well? What could they be doing better? And what could I take away from looking at this listing or at this company? And try and be as broad as you can. We experienced us going off on tangents a few moments ago. We're like talking about Superstride and their retail store, and eBay was their outlet for them. Try and look at it and consider the other dynamics of what it means for them to sell on eBay as a business. Okay, so don't be afraid to look outside of the box of just eBay further if you need to. And in fact, I'd double down like Dave to go and have a look. If you go and look at a seller and you roughly know what products they sell, like do what I did a minute ago, which was prime pre-guess, kind of going hand in hand with what James was saying earlier. Utilitarian products or must-haves, an alternator, a tube for a Dyson vacuum cleaner is like a non-negotiable purchase, isn't it? You're buying it because it's broken and you need a replacement. whereas something more fluffier, then yeah, you're going to end up having to do a slightly bit larger sell or stronger sell on it. But we're only talking about just providing, like we said, was it last week, just Jobs' online sellers, in inverted commas, is just to provide great quality information so that the customer can make an informed decision or not. And on that note, think back to that fake grass, which we saw in that Australian seller. Whole new league. Terrible images. One good image at the top. The other two just didn't even exist. Screw all item specifics, bare minimum possible. And then the world's best eBay item description I've ever come across. Work that one out. So that's what the guys in Australia doing really, really well. Thumbs up for them. And still blatantly obviously even focusing on one area very, very well, but then at the sake of leaving everything else out. Right, sorry, Dave. I saw there's a bit of a chat going on there.
James actually noticed something quite interesting on the German seller. I went to one of their Castrol products, some Castrol Edge titanium engine oil, and actually on the right hand side above their name and feedback, it has a little Castrol logo which says authorized online partner. And when you click it, it says this is a product of a Castrol authorized online partner. This dealer has special training and product knowledge, access to a wide range of service tools. It's a nice little trust builder, and I've never seen that anywhere else. I've not seen it on .com or .co.uk, but over on DE, it looks like Castrol have the ability to, or maybe other brands as well, have the ability to authorize sellers as an authorized online partner.
That is curious, and that makes should we? I've not seen that before. No. You've probably not seen that before. I think Dave was surprised by seeing it as well. But should we be surprised that eBay have done something like that? Probably not. Should we be enthusiastic that they've done something like that? Well, yes, we should be. In short, so yeah, that's really good to see. And again, that's another point. We've just spotted something on the German site because we didn't see that in the UK. I've never seen that before on an eBay UK listing, is out there. So if it's going on in Germany, then chances are we might see it over here in the UK. Because don't forget, the order of ranks is America, UK, and no, sorry, I only did this wrong way around, wasn't it? The largest site was America, then it's Germany, and then the UK. Is that right?
I think so.
Although the UK is very saturated.
UK transacts more, yeah.
Yeah, for it. So yeah, very, very curious. Go and see if you can find out other oddities like that. Also notice that the color stylings are slightly different on the German site compared to .com, as I've just noticed on an item. Let's click in there. Yeah, the colors are slightly different, I think. Anyway, I've just looked out for anything. Anyway, let's get ourselves back into the topic. There are the published list. We'll put a link in the video description after we've gone live. That is an article over on Web Retailer. So thumbs up to Andy for compiling that list and also keeping that list up to date, because it's something which Andy's done for a long period of time.
A number of years. Yeah, and these facts were only from September this year, so they're pretty fresh. Yeah.
So that's September 2018, just for the record there, just in case you're recording this and watching it back at a later date. To be honest, Dave, the one thing which has really shocked me, which actually didn't shock me, surprised me in a nice way, was the global, what did you write? The global average was 98.8% feedback, but us here in the UK, we've managed to do 99.2. Is that because the UK is full of buyers like me, which just can't be bothered to leave feedback for over a year? Who knows?
Maybe we're just easier to please.
Indeed. But wait, Dave, on that note, what topic are we covering next week, sir?
Well, that is, I think, a very good question. And
you're just playing for time, aren't you? I can have a look. Okay.
In order for me to answer that properly,
you would need to know why you should be even bother selling on the marketplaces, that is the next week's topic. And I think that's kind of a fun one, because we've got to ask ourselves a blatant question. And again, we should be asking ourselves the blatant question: why should we even bother selling on these marketplaces if they're a complete pain in the ass and cost us an arm and a leg? That, ladies and gents, is the conversation which we're going to be having live here next week.
Yeah, it's a fun question. It's one I'm not sure. Is anyone else noticing Matt's connection drop every now and again?
Yeah, apologies. It's been really bad today.
Yeah, so I
And
thought
I got really
you just
squeaky
stopped. I was
show
like,
as well.
yeah,
That's not helped. And you don't want to squeak now, does it?
Yeah. But what I was saying is, yeah, it's a fun one because we get asked, we see it in the forums, we see it in Facebook, everyone complaining about eBay, Amazon. It's like, well, if there's such B words to work with, why do we even bother? And that's the sort of question we'll be looking at next week.
Indeed. So apologies if I've dropped out there a few times. My internet has been a bit wonky today. I thought it might sort itself out, but obviously not. Apologies for that. And apologies for the squeaky chair. I'll go and put some oil on it in a moment. Anyway, on that note, if you've been enjoyed today's mastermind, do us a favor, hit the thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments about anything which we've discussed here, you can let us know in the comment section underneath this video or across on understandinge.com as well. That's where you'll find myself and Dave. On that note, it's time for us to go. Thank you very much for watching. See you again. From myself, Matt.
And from me, Dave.
Cheerios.
See you next week, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.